Hey everybody, welcome back to the Time Pass podcast. This is your host, Ashika. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. If you haven't done so already, please like me on Facebook at Time Pass Podcast, follow me on Instagram at TimePass_podcast, and check out the YouTube channel where you can watch all the episodes of the Time Pass podcast. If you are an auditory listener, wherever you are tuning into podcasts, please make sure you are liked, followed, or subscribed on your listening platform of choice. You can also find the show on ruckusavenueradio.com on Sundays. Check their schedule because I mentioned last week that there is a little bit of technical difficulties that was going on with my episodes and the radio station, but it should be resolved soon. So check me out on ruckusavenueradio.com. All right, you guys. We're here. It is the season 3 finale. Guys, I am feeling like, I don't know what type of way. I can't believe that we are here. I can't believe that it has been 3 full years of the show. It's so surreal to me, you guys. And you know, I don't really care about the numbers, but the season finale is where I kind of share some of those stats. So we have over 7,000 downloads, over 139 episodes have been published. The Time Pass podcast has been listened to in over 63 countries. And this always, it's interesting to me to see this, but the top 3 actually hasn't changed. It's the US, and then India, and then the UK, which is interesting. Listenership has gone up in Indonesia because it's booted Canada out of the 4th place slot into 5th place. So now Indonesia's in the 3rd spot and Canada is in the 4th spot. And then, of course, Germany, France, Australia, and several more countries. Besides that, we have been heard in over 1,054 cities around the world. And it's just crazy. It's crazy to me that many people are listening to what I'm saying. Maybe they heard 1 episode, maybe they heard 10, maybe they just found the show. I have no idea, but thank you so much for your listenership, for your patronage. I appreciate it. Honestly, the reason that I have been able to commit to this show for 3 years and keep going is because of all of you, all of your likes, all of your downloads, all of your follows, all of your comments, all of your messages, all of your emails, all of your inquiries through my website. That stuff is amazing. I thank you so much for helping me help you. Helping me realize that I do have a unique point of view that I like to share and that somebody out there is finding it valuable. Thank you so much for that. Besides that, looking back at season 3, you guys know, the numbers, I don't give a shit about them. I don't. I'm not that person. I actually talked about it in an article, which I'll talk about. But I'm just not that person. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care, I always said if even one person was listening to the show and I was helping just that one person not feel alone or entertain them or whatever it is, that was my goal. I just wanted people to not feel alone in whatever they were going through. And I remember early on in season 1, there was this listener, and I'm not sure if they listen or not anymore, but I think for all of season 1, there was this listener in France. And I kid you not, that first season, you're really doubting yourself, right? You really have a lot of imposter syndrome and all of that. And I remember that first season, every time I would release an episode, that first download was always from that person in France, like that same city in France. And it got to the point where I was just like, okay, you know what? This is like, I'm doing this for that person who's tuning in every week. And literally, like, within an hour of the episode being out, they were downloading it. And I love that. And it, like, kept me going. And to now look at the numbers and look at the stats and look at the milestones that I've achieved in season 3, it's crazy to me. It's so crazy to me. So let's talk about some of those milestones. The biggest milestone is getting syndicated on RuckusAvenueRadio.com. It hasn't been a smooth syndication because we've had some difficulties with the episodes and personnel just changing around over there. But I think we've got everything ironed out. And so even though I am signing off for the season, and I'll talk about that more later, you can still find the episodes, or if you haven't heard all of them, you can always listen to them on any streaming platform, or Ruckus Avenue Radio is still streaming a lot of the earlier episodes from season 3 at this point, and they're going to go through the whole season. So please tune in to me there. I'm super thankful that a podcaster friend of mine from New Jersey hooked me up with Ruckus Avenue Radio, and it was years ago, and then they finally reached out and syndicated the show. So I'm super thankful for that. That was a huge milestone for me. I'm excited. It's still a new partnership, so I don't think I've tested the bandwidth of it yet. I haven't really like dug my feet in and really seen, how much more I can do. So I'm excited to do that moving forward. And then it was exciting because I just talked about it, but I had my first article interview, which was cool. And it's like this little independent online magazine, Canvas Rebel, that's run out of the Bay Area here in California. But the conversation was really intentional. And that's really where I talked a lot about how I feel about stats and numbers. So if you haven't checked it out, you can go to canvasrebel.com and just type in my name, Ashika Lau, and it should come up. I also have the article linked on my link tree on my Instagram, so you can find it that way as well. I think season 3 was good. Overall, there was a lot going on, a lot of change, a lot of busyness. It was kind of crazy. And I have to share something with you guys. So when I look back at season 3 and my mental space and just emotional state through the majority of season 3, I would have to call season 3 the dark year. I feel like it was my dark year a little bit. And I'm gonna reflect on this more during the break, but I think it was a rough year for me overall. There's a lot of growth has happened, but this season was rough. I mean, I think there's multiple things that made it that way, and we'll talk about that a little bit here. But I think when we were in season 2 last spring, it was so I'm talking about 2022, spring of 2022. I was off the dating apps and I was meeting these high quality men that I just vibed with a lot more out in the real world, in real life. And I commented on it in a couple episodes in 2022 during spring and early summer about how, this was before the ankle break, right? About how I felt like maybe the universe was I was finally meeting the kind of men that I am compatible with and could see a future with, versus the fuckboys that I used to date, right? So I had commented on how I felt like it was coming, like my person was coming. I felt like the universe was getting me prepped for my person to come in, right? And then I had done a lot of healing. I had done a lot of healing, a lot of self-reflection, and I was very confident. I've always been a confident person, but I was very confident in who I was, very confident in who I am. I loved myself so well then. I was just in this place to receive and completely ready for it, right? And then the ankle broke and whatever. And then this amazing man kind of came into my life last fall. And, we just kind of were getting to know each other and just talking to each other, like building on our friendship. And I just walked into that completely blind. I was just super authentic from the beginning. I was just open, and like I said, I was like ready, I was ready, and I think I blinded myself a little bit to do my research or to maybe step back and figure out if he was even ready. Because long story short, he wasn't. And I think when that conversation happened with him, it was super early in 2023, this year, and I was kind of devastated. I think it had repercussions on my emotional state and my sense of self that I didn't predict that would happen. Nor did I think that should happen based on the length of time and the interactions that we had. I think it was just the fact that I was so, ready. I didn't stop to think whether or not the other person was. And I just gave 110% like I always do. And then it didn't work out. And something else I think that contributed to the dark season is the breast cancer scare that I had early on in the fall before this man came into my life. That was really fucking scary. It was a dark year. I was in some dark places. So that was in fall, and then late fall through very early winter, I was in a great place. And I cringe a little bit because I did that episode, I think in November, December timeframe, about if he wanted to, he would. Because this man made it very clear to me that he wanted to, and he was. And then everything blew up in my face. And he wasn't interested in pursuing a romantic connection with me. And I kind of felt like I had egg on my face a little bit, right? Because here I was talking about, in theory, I was talking about the theory of, if a man really wants to, he will, right? The inspiration behind that whole episode was this man who decided he didn't want to. So, you feel embarrassed. You feel a little, well, I look like a complete idiot a little bit. And I guess what I didn't realize was happening was after that happened, I started to question myself all the time. I got to a really bad place. I think I've always been super confident. I talked about it on the show so much. I'm the kind of person who's always put together when I leave the house, unless I'm going to the gym. I take pride in what I wear and how I look every time I walk out that door. And I've always thrived on compliments. I mean, what woman doesn't love compliments, right? When you're out and about and you're doing something and somebody's just like, oh, I love your outfit, or oh, you're beautiful, or whatever it is, right? I have never been the woman that's uncomfortable with that. No, I have always been oh my God, thank you so much, because it gives me pride. Oh yes, I take pride in the way I look, and I do that for me. And when somebody else notices it and compliments me, it makes me feel good about myself. I like that. I've always liked that. let me just tell you, I got to a place this spring where I fucking hated it. It started, I don't know how it got there, but it started off slow. So after everything went down with this man who didn't want to pursue anything with me anymore, you know, you go out, and I still take pride in how I look, and it's autopilot. I've always been this way. So, you know, I always put myself together and go out or do whatever. And it started off with little jokes, right? Where somebody would say like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. Or like, I love your energy. And I would be like, yeah, it's not that great. Or I would say something like, yeah, I'm still single. You know, like, it's like, I have a very sarcastic and dry sense of humor, but it is absolutely true that sometimes when people say things in jest, there's a little bit of truth in it. So it started off like that, where somebody would say something and it was no longer big smile on my face and thank you so much. You know, I wasn't doing that anymore. I was like, yeah, you know, kind of like, I don't know what kind of crack you're smoking, but this is really what my life is like. And then I remember talking to Fabian, and I remember telling him, there were times that I would go out without him, right? And I would get compliments or whatever. And I remember I would tell him, I hate getting compliments. Like, I hate it. It makes me angry. And I started getting angry. So if I went out and 2 or 3 people told me that I looked nice, or they liked my outfit, or they liked whatever it is that people compliment about me, instantly my mood would shift. I would be angry. When I went on vacation to New Orleans, my cousin and her friend who were there, I remember one day they were commenting on like my sense of style and my body shape, which I take a lot of pride in. I work hard. I said it on this show before. I work hard to have, you know, a shape to my body. And I remember they were commenting on my curves, which I've always loved my curves, you know, they're very curvy. They were commenting on my curves and my sense of style. And I remember telling Fabian, and I remember telling my mom even, that I felt really uncomfortable. I've never been that person. I've never been that person before to feel uncomfortable. I work hard. I like it when people notice. I dress nice. I like to hear it when I look nice. That's me. I love that shit. I'm a fucking Libra. Put all the spotlights on me. I love it. Like, I've never been this person. Never. It was like a whole new person. And then when I got around family, and, you know, South Asians are very, like, toxic in general. You know, they don't say anything nice. They only comment on anything that's wrong. Like, so I had, like, the family member that was like, oh, why do you look like that? I'm not wearing any makeup. Like, what do you mean? Like, they'll comment on people's weight, whether you lose weight, whether you gain weight, your hair, the way you do your makeup, your clothes, your nails. They'll comment on anything, and it's never fucking good. It's that toxic generational, I don't know what it is. It's like this thing that they do, and it's not polite. It's rude, and it's, I've always put up with it, but I got to a place where it was bothering me. And I remember calling my brother and talking to him about it when everything went down, when my family was visiting. And then later that week, he called me, and we had a nice chat, and he was just like, who are you? And I'm like, what? And he's like, you have never been somebody who is ever rattled by anybody's opinions. Like, you know, it was really sweet, but he's like, you're the ultimate maverick. Thank you, brother. But that's how he described me. He's like, you're the ultimate maverick. He's like, you don't give a shit what anybody says. If you want to do it, or if you think it's right, you're going to say it, you're going to do it, and you don't care what anybody else has to say about anything that you've ever done. And so for him, I think, because I had confided in him how I had felt, and I I had told him like that I just didn't have the bandwidth anymore. I just didn't have the emotional bandwidth to deal with it. And he didn't understand. And he was like, I don't get it. Like, what's changed? Like, what's changed? Like, you've always been like, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Take your opinion, shove it up your ass. And I told him, I was like, you can't be that person all the time. You can't. And I was in a place this year where I was already like, all of the generational, like, negative talk that I had heard throughout my life. And then I was talking to myself that way too. How you talk to yourself is really important. And I realized that I was talking to myself in that way. And I've never done that before. I've always been like super confident, maybe a little too confident sometimes. I've never been this person. And it was weird. It was really weird. And I'm happy to say, like, grow through what you go through, right? Like I've said that a bajillion times. Everybody says that. It's really important. But it took me a while to start to feel like me again. And it takes time always to like get over things and process things. And the problem with me is it takes a lot of time, especially if I've invested myself into somebody, like, that's rough. I take that really rough because I go all in, right? I'm like 100%. And then it's like, oh, shit. Like, I showed you, like, my authentic self, and you had the audacity to reject me. And that's what it's always been like. And you had the audacity to reject me, but this time it was like, wow, I showed you my authentic self, and you rejected me. I don't think I like my authentic self anymore. That's rough. That was really rough for me this past year. So I had to go through that and like get through it. And I'm happy to say last night I actually met up with a friend who I hadn't seen for a really long time. And we wanted to catch up. So we went to dinner, her and I, and then we just like Googled like nearest bar to grab a drink after dinner. And so we went to some like hole in the wall bar, not in my town, not in her town. We like met in the middle. And we just hung out there, and I had the best time. And I don't know what was in the air, but I don't know. It was just like, first of all, we Googled this place and we walked in. It was a karaoke bar. I love karaoke. I actually love singing karaoke. I was not in the mind frame to like sing karaoke last night, but she actually really likes it when I sing karaoke. So she's always like, you're gonna sing. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. I've got sinus, and like, I'm such a perfectionist. I'm like, I'm having sinus issues right now. I'm not gonna sound good. Like, that's just me. But I'm always hard on myself. But yeah, so she, so we were there and we're hanging out, and it was the first time that people complimented me, and I genuinely had the big smile on my face again and was just saying thank you. And I didn't realize it until I got home, because she made a comment. She's like, wow, people were loving you today in that bar. And I was like, I know. It's like, it makes you feel good, right? I needed that. And especially when women compliment other women, I fucking love that. Like that, I like that compliment more than I do a compliment that comes from a man. And two women had stopped me in passing and said very nice things to me. So I was feeling good, and I wasn't mad at them. I didn't want to rip their heads off or make any sort of snarky comment. I just smiled and I said thank you, and I told them that they were sweet. And it just, it felt like me again. And I think I subconsciously like set myself up for this. So I was like, I like to wear jewelry, especially like necklaces like I have on right now. But I had kind of stopped wearing necklaces because one of these necklaces, actually, this longest one, I thought was like irritating my neck a little bit. So I was like, oh, I'm going to take a break and not wear any necklaces. And I put my necklaces away, and then I just didn't wear them anymore. And I had stopped wearing earrings too. And last night when I was getting ready to meet my friend for dinner, I was like, I want to wear my necklaces. And it's so cute to me because I put this, like, I like layering my necklaces, and I put this trio of necklaces together. And I was thinking about it as I was driving to meet her up for dinner, and I was like, I didn't buy any one of these necklaces for myself. Jewelry is fantastic. When you're not buying your own jewelry, that's even more fantastic. And right now, all the jewelry that I'm wearing, on a regular basis, has been given to me. So I started wearing like these nice little studs in my ears, these little diamond studs. And my daughter actually gave me those because she got like a whole little thing of them, and they're too big for her 8-year-old ears. And I was like, oh, those are nice. I was like, those are too big for you. And I said something, and I was like, oh, those would look good in my ears. And she's like, here, you can wear them. And so she gave them to me. So I'm like wearing them. And then I'll talk a little bit about my necklaces here. So the longest one, they're gold. They're 3 little gold necklaces. And the longest one was given to me by my mom, the necklace and the amulet. The amulet is kind of, it's like a protection amulet. If you're South Asian, you know what it is. It's a taviz. So, you know, it's like a little protection amulet. And that's why it looks like this. And my mom gave this to me years ago when I was in elementary school. And I had a different necklace on it. And then she bought me this necklace. And so I put it on it and started wearing it again. And then this one is a heart. It's a little circle. And it has my initial on it. It's an A. And what I love about it is in the back, the clasp has like a little heart. And my friend Cynthia, who's been on the show, gave this to me. She actually gave my daughter a matching one. And I cherished it. You know, it's like very like me, A. And then this itty bitty one, it's a little heart. And it has an overlay, like an opal overlay, and that's what my birthstone is, Libra. It's opal, and my bestie gave it to me. And so as I was driving to go meet my friend for dinner, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know, I have these amazing people in my life that like love me and care for me, and it's like the heart reminded me of like love, and then the A reminded me of like myself, like my sense of self and who I am. And then my amulet is just like, you know, to protect myself a little bit, protect my heart a little bit, and protect me. Like, makes me feel protected. Like, you know, like the universe wants good things for me, not bad things for me. Like, I feel like I am loved and protected. And so this is like my favorite trio right now. So I just love that. And then I went out and had like a great night, right? And I felt like myself again, and that's huge. I think that's really huge. And it happens, right? Like it's not all like roses and, you know, good stuff. People go through phases and they get down and they have to get over it on their own. And so that's why I would say season 3 was kind of like the dark year for me a little bit. You know, it took me a while to kind of just process everything in my head and even decide like, I'm a Libra, I'm an overthinker, I'm gonna overthink everything. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I not do this? Should I, you know, it's just, it was a lot. It was a lot, and I'm glad that I went through it. You know, there's this quote that I saw on like, I don't know, TikTok or Instagram or something, but it was like, sometimes you're meant to go into somebody's life to teach them, you know, the meaning of love or like true love or something like that. And sometimes somebody comes into your life to teach you a lesson on self-love. And I don't know, I kind of feel like this person came into my life to teach me about self-love. So yeah, I thought I was there. You know, I thought I was there, but I think I just kind of jumped the gun a little bit on getting carried away with my emotions a little bit. So yeah, season 3 was definitely the dark year. It'll be funny for me to look back and reflect on the episodes that I've done since. I think I've done a lot of like relationship problem episodes, like giving people a second chance, talking about like empowerment and different things. And I think it's gonna be very reflective of where I was during that time in my life, what episode I talked about, what topic I talked about on that episode. So I'll be doing a lot of that, you guys. And I don't know, like I'm ready, you know, I don't know if I'm ready, like, so it was weird, but like, there was I ended up, like, 2 men were really insistent on giving me their phone numbers last night. I literally lied to these men and told them that I was in a relationship, and they didn't give a fuck. Like, men are fucking savage, okay? They are savage, and they're like, no, just take down my number. And I was like, I really don't want to. And this one guy, he conspired with my friend to get me to sing because she really wanted me to sing and I didn't want to. And I was like, you sing, because he's like forcing me to sing, and I was like, you sing. And he's like, I'll sing if you sing. And I was like, no. And he was like, whoever gets the most like cheers gets the other's number. And so in my head, I was like, the thing is like, I'm so nice, right? Like, I know within like a minute, sometimes less of meeting you. I always say, like, I know within 10 seconds whether or not I'm like attracted to you and I would be interested in pursuing something. I'm pretty quick to know that. And I knew it when he walked up and offered to buy us drinks. I honestly didn't know what his deal was. And I was just like, oh, okay, like, thanks. And so he's talking to my friend and he's talking to me. And then he made it very clear that he was interested in me. And I just wasn't. I wasn't attracted to him that way. And so he makes this thing and he's like, yeah. And then, so I'm, in my head, I don't like being mean to people. I don't like being rude to people, you know. And he was a great conversationalist. He had a great personality. He's a great guy. Just not somebody that I have any sort of chemistry with. And so when he made that bet, he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, great. And I'm confident in my singing abilities. And he had said already that he wasn't a singer, that he couldn't sing. And so I was like, okay, this will work, because then I'll get his number and I'll never call him and it'll be fine. So it played out the way it played out. And so he's like, okay, well, you get my number now. And I was like, okay. So I opened my phone. This is hilarious, you guys. And it made me feel so bad for it. But I opened my phone and I opened my notes. And I was like, here you go, put your number in. And he threw a fucking fit. He was like, oh my God. He's like, you're not even going to call me. I'm never going to hear from you. He's like, who does that? Who opens their phone on notes to take someone's number? And I was like, I use my notes a lot. But like, yeah, that is why I put it in notes too. Like, I don't want to put his name into my phone right away, right? And I'm never going to call him. So I was like, yeah, let's just give him my notes. And so like, I try to make him feel better. And I was like, no, look at my notes. Like, I literally use notes all the time. And I literally do, you guys. I was like, look, like, I have other numbers here in my notes. But they're like, you know, whatever. He doesn't even know who they are. But, you know, I'm like, yeah, look. And he's like, no, no, no. And he's like, and then my friend was giving me a hard time about it. And so I opened it up on my keypad. And I was like, okay, here you go. Put your number in my phone. So he put his number in my phone, but then that little sneaky guy hit call, and then he got my number, and I was like, hey, like, that wasn't the deal. So anyway, and then there was another gentleman there from like New York. He's from Arizona, but originally from New York. And then he was like hanging out with us, and then he's in town for like a week, and he's like, I want to see you again. Da, 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 da. And so then he's like, just take my number down. If you feel like hanging out, call me. And I'm like, huh. Okay. So it was just weird. It was weird. It was a good, like, confidence boosting sort of night for me. But yeah, neither of those people I'm interested in. And so I think, like, it's just nice to be out there. And that's not what I was expecting last night when I went out. I was literally going out to catch up with my girlfriend. But I think I needed it. And I think that I'm proud of myself for receiving it back in the way that I would have received it before. So I think it's progress, and in a good way progress. So we'll see. Guys are savage though. Like, this fool did not care. I had to make up a whole pretend boyfriend and he did not care. He was like, he's not here with you, so obviously. And I was like, oh my God, okay. What's coming up for me? You guys, I've got a lot of goals right now. Like, I've got a lot of goals. I talked about it in the beginning of the year a little bit, and like before, you know, everything went dark. But I have educational goals that I'm pursuing. I've still got my fitness goals. You guys know that I've been trying to learn how to swim, and I'm happy to report that yesterday was the first day that I actually swam and like was breathing while swimming too, like doing everything the way you're supposed to. So that's fantastic. And then I have my educational goals. So it's crazy because I was talking about this last night with my girlfriend, but I've got all these coaches in my life right now. So I've got a counselor to help me with my educational goals, and I think it's so important to have the right people in your corner, and I've said this a million times. I've had other physical, like, personal trainers, and they haven't been as good as Missy, who I have now, and she's, like, the right fit for me. And so when I started, like, pursuing my education again, I had a counselor who was not the right fit for me, and now the counselor that I have is, like, phenomenal. She's like, we spoke, she knows what I want to do, she's advising me, and she's like, don't do that. Like, she doesn't want me to waste my time. Like, this is good. I like who I'm connected with there. I've got Missy and all the coaches at Kaleo Fitness that help me with my personal training and my fitness. I love it. Third, I just got a sports medicine therapist. Because I'm an athlete. No, I do consider myself an athlete, but I'm tired of having to be held back by my ankle mobility. It's not back to what it was before the break. And when I really noticed it was in Mexico. Like, you know, it was hot and miserable, but I've never had like a problem walking like the boardwalk, or you know, like just like doing things that people want to do. And what I found myself doing when I was like going on vacation, and even in New Orleans, I found myself doing this a little bit, but it's like I had to pick and choose what like walking activities I wanted to do, because I know that I have a like cap of, if I've walked this much, I'm probably done and my foot's gonna hurt like hell. And I just don't want to live my life that way. And I still have limitations when I'm working out and doing some exercises as far as like mobility and different moves. Like, I still can't squat as low as I used to. Lunges are much better than they were, but they're still not back to the way they are. And the thing is like, I can do a great lunge on my left side, but on the right side, not so much. And so like, I just want to get back on an even playing field. And the physical therapist that my doctor sent me through didn't really do much, and I think they waited a long time. So I talked to Kyle, who's one of the coaches at Kaleo, and asked him if he knew somebody who like helped athletes recover after injuries, and he did. So he put me in touch with his buddy. And we met last week on Friday before swim, and I think he's going to be a really good fit. And so I'm seeing him once a week now, and I have my swim coach right now as well, at least for one more week. And then I have another like swim coach lined up after her, because I think I want to keep the momentum going right now until it gets cold, just because I don't want to lose the muscle memory until I'm super confident. So I don't know. I feel like I'm a big proponent of getting the help you need from people who know best. Like, these people have invested their education and their careers into doing these things. I don't need to become an expert at it. I need to just go to the expert and have them help me through it. So that's kind of where I'm at for the time being. I have a lot on my plate. Like I've said, that's not going away. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what season 4 brings. It's been crazy. I think it'll be a good season. Like I'm in a good place right now, you guys. Like I think season 4 is going to be really good. And I think this break is going to be good for me. I don't know how long of a break I'm going to take before I premiere season 4. So the break between season 1 and season 2 was like 2 weeks. The break between season 2 and season 3, I think, was like 4 weeks, maybe 3-4 weeks. I don't know what kind of break I'm going to take before I premiere season 4. So please stay connected to me on the socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Stay connected because these are the places where I will announce the season premiere date. So that's where you can find out when I will come back and when I will be bringing you season 4. I don't see me taking a break, for longer than like, I don't think I'd even push 2 months. So I just know that I need some time off. So I'm going to enjoy it. And it may just be, I don't know, it may be 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I think it'll be a minimum of 4 weeks, actually, because I've got some stuff coming up and I've got to integrate that into my lifestyle. I'm down. Like, I'm so down now with my education stuff picking up. Like, you guys know my weekends were Friday nights and Saturdays. Well, now my weekends are basically going to be Friday nights. And while I'm not doing the show, while I'm not producing the show, I may get half a Sunday. But as soon as I go back into production, I'll have like one night off as my weekend. So it's going to take a lot of commitment, but I'm super excited to pursue these goals and passions. I've got a great team of people behind me, and I appreciate their support. I've got a good support system with all my people that I wear around my neck now and carry with me. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what season 4 will bring y'all. Again, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me. I am super humbled by all the stats and the listens and the community that we've built. Thank you so much, you guys. Season 3 was crazy. It was dark, but onwards and upwards. We grow through what we go through, and we make it to the other side, and we become better people because of it. We really do. You guys, stay authentic to who you are. I've said that for 3 seasons now, and I struggled with that this year. These past few months, I struggled with that. Just being my authentic self. And, because my authentic self loves me. I really do. I love the things and people in my life and the life that I've built. So I lost my authentic self there for a little bit because I didn't love those things anymore. But I do. I love these things. I love the life I have, and I love the support system I have. If you are not doing so, follow those socials. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That's where you're going to get all the updates. You can always binge listen to season 3, season 2, or season 1 on your listening platform of choice. You can find all of season 3 episodes on YouTube. I believe, as long as this episode uploads appropriately, I believe every single episode from season 3, the full episode, was actually uploaded on YouTube, which is huge. Because I remember when I first started YouTube, there are some, in season 2, there are some episodes that are like half like video, half not. So I guess the video, knock on wood, has been good to me this season. So that's kind of fantastic. You can also just tune into ruckusavenueradio.com, check out their schedule, and you can find my show there, you guys. You know what I always say. I love that you guys listen. If you would like to give me an anniversary gift for 3 years of the Time Pass podcast, I would love it if you could share the show with at least one person. That would be the best gift you guys could ever give me, besides your continued support and listenership. Stay authentic to who you are, you guys. Let's look forward to a good season 4. Hopefully I'll come up with something good and hard-hitting to premiere with. Take care of yourselves. I love you. Bye.